Alright, for this one we're going to start out with subtracting 25 from both sides. So 81x squared equals negative 25. I'm going to divide both sides by 81. And when I take the square root, I get x equals plus or minus. The square root of 25 is 5. The square root of 81 is 9. And because it's negative, we're going to use an I. Problem number 14, what we're going to do is we're going to first factor out an x because we want to factor out what they have in common. And I'm left with x squared minus 7x minus 18. I need two numbers that multiply up to be 18, negative 18, and add up to be negative 7. The x stays on the outside. So we got negative 9 and positive 2, because negative 9 plus 2 is negative 7, and negative 9 times negative 2 is negative 18. So remember, when you're doing this on a multiple choice test, the order of the factors do not matter. For problem number 15, when we're looking for the zeros, for the first one we just have x equals 5. From the second one, that's supposed to be a 9, so x equals 9. And because the last one is positive 2, x equals negative 2. For problem number 16, they gave us y equals x to the third plus 5x squared plus 4x plus 20. And they're looking for all of the real and imaginary zeros of this polynomial. And they said that negative 5 is already one of the answers. So I put negative 5 on the outside. They told me to use synthetic division. So I bring the 1 down. 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. Negative 5 plus 5, or 5 plus negative 5 is 0. 0 times negative 5 is still 0. 4 plus 0 is 4. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20, with the remainder of 0. Which means I have x squared plus 0x plus 4 equals 0 to find the other two roots. Subtract 4 on the other side. X squared equals negative 4. So when I square root, I get x equals plus or minus. The square root of 4 is 2. So we got 2i. For problem number 17, I'm going to plug this in for y1. And y2, I'm going to leave a 0. And then I'm going to graph it. So I'm still on Zoom 6, so if you have a different picture than mine, just hit Zoom 6 and it should be there. I'll find this. There's 3 answers. I'm going to find this first one first. So I do second trace, 5, enter, enter, enter. And it tells me that the first point is at 0, 0. Then I'm going to do my next one over to the right. So second trace, intersect. When I get to the guess, I'm going to have to move over to the right. And it tells me that the answer is 0.921. We're only worried about the x value. And then lastly, I'm going to find that one over there. And it should be around negative 3. And it's in fact negative 3.25. And so these are my 3 answers for the zeros of that particular problem. In problem number 18, there was a typo. It should have been negative 3x cubed plus 18x squared plus 22x plus 3 divided by x plus 3. So the typo was here. It shouldn't have said plus or minus. It just should have said plus. So if I'm doing synthetic division, -3, 18, 22, and 3. And because this is x plus 3, I'm going to put -3 on the outside. The -3 comes straight down. -3 times -3 is positive 9. 18 plus 9 is 27. Multiply that by -3 and we get -81. This turns out to be -59. Times that by -3 and we get 177, which gives me a remainder of 180. So my answer is -3x squared plus 27x minus 59 plus a remainder of 180. I don't even need the plus. Alright, we're looking for all four answers of x to the fourth plus 9x squared minus 10 equals 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor this down, but instead of using x, I'm going to use x squared. And what two numbers multiply up to be -10 and add up to be positive 9? That would be positive 10 and -1. So I got x squared plus 10 equals 0. And x squared minus 1 equals 0. Subtract 10. X squared equals -10. Square root. Since that doesn't come out even, plus or minus I, square roots of 10. Over on this side, plus 1, x squared equals 1. Square root, x equals plus or minus 1. So these are the reals, these are the imaginaries. Alright, I graphed this problem number 20. Look for the zeros. There's one right here, one right there. So how many zeros are there? 2. So y equals 6 over x plus 4. I said x plus 4 equals 0. Subtract 4, x equals -4. That's the vertical asymptote. Since there is more x's in the denominator than in the numerator, the horizontal asymptote is simply going to be y equals 0. For this problem, once again for the vertical asymptotes, I'm going to set the denominator equal to 0. This time I'm going to have to factor it, so I need two numbers and then multiply up to be -30 and add up to be -1. So that would be x minus 6 and x plus 5, which means this has two vertical asymptotes at x equals 6 and x equals -5. Now for the other part, both of these have x squareds. In the numerator, it's a 3, and in the denominator, there's a 1 in front of the x squared. So y equals 3 will be my horizontal asymptote. On the final, we will give you this formula. And so if they give you a center of 3, -6 and a radius of 2, we're just going to plug this in for h and k and r. So x minus 3 squared, y plus 6 squared equals 2 squared, which is 4. And the reason why the y is plus 6 is because two negatives make a positive. Now remember, when you're doing this on the test, you don't actually have to graph it, you just have to pick the right choice. And so this has a center at -3, +1, and a radius that equals 4. So I go 4 down, 4 to the right, 4 up, 4 to the left. And so, not the best looking circle in the world. But once again, you just need to pick out the best circle with the right center and what looks to have the right radius.